Now I'd like to take you through all these photographs. I'm going to take you through all of this mess that you can see going on here, right the way through structurally putting down the new warm roof, right away to the finished article, which is give you a glimpse of what it looks like there with all new doors and everything going in. So let's go back to the beginning and I'll just take you through this. So this is the beginning. This is probably, I've been here once or twice before, did a site survey and established that there was a big leak and a big dent in the roof just there. So we knew that we were on for a big gain, big roof and a lot of work. So the customer asked me to come back and do some explorational work into this. So this is where it was falling down and leaking mainly. This gives you an idea here of what it's all about. Now what we've done here, if I just stop that video, is that we've already removed the tiles from that area, exposing this part, knowing we've got a big board over here on the right hand side, knowing that we're going to have to repair it. But what we're trying to do is work out what's actually going on inside the roof. Structurally, we don't know. We know that we're going to have to do a whole new roof. We know that we're going to have to take all the doors and door frames out. We know all of that, but it's a matter of working out what structurally we have to do. So going on to some more photographs here, let's have a look at this one. So as we're exploring this, and just note while I stop it, it's dry around the outside. Water was just coming into this all the time. Even whilst we're doing it, it started to rain a little bit, and we've had to dry this, keep it dry all the time around the outside. But you'll see here, I'm just having a look inside, trying to work out exactly what's going on. And this is an asphalt roof here, which has been laid over the top of some ply, which has been laid over the top. We can see this here, some breathable membrane. Why, I don't know. Some new timbers internally and some loft insulation inside. So we're not really quite understanding at the moment what's going on, but it's obviously not right, is it? So measurements are taken to work out the depth of what's going on. So then I can measure the whole roof right the way around. By the way, this here, let's go back to that one there. This is Bob, my son-in-law, and what he's actually doing here is because we were testing a new liquid system. So whilst we were waiting for the repair to go off, because this has to be left now for a few days for the engineer to be able to assess what's going on, by just sticking these in just slightly, we can do what we call a pull test on it to see how well it adheres, the liquid system adheres to different substrates. Now obviously this is only a repair and the substrate's terrible around the back there, but once this is dry and the next time we come back we can pull these off and we know whether or not we need to prime different surfaces, how well the fleeces stick into it. So it was just something that we were doing as a matter of course whilst we're just testing different systems as we go along. So this is it. We've got the scaffolding up now. We've been in touch with the engineers. The engineers have said, okay, look, we can't, it looks pretty structurally sound there, but you've got to take it all apart and have a look at it. So we've priced the whole job and we've got all the scaffolding up with the tin roof over the top ready to move forward. The access to the roof was really difficult. We've had to come over here and jump over. So we decided to straight away start to dismantle the stair housing so that we can get over the top and bring materials up and down. But we still wanted access into the property for electricity, water, other different scenarios where necessary. So you can see we've brought it down nicely. We can now get over the top there, get onto this, and we've just established ourselves a way in. You can see here, look, that's all covered up with some old EPDM rubber, which we use an awful lot for when we have offcuts of it and things like that. They come in great for temporary covering up. Good tarpaulins, heavy, the wind doesn't get them, and it's really good for that kind of thing. But you can see all the pot plants are having to go out. All the tiles, there's a lot of stripping, a lot of rubbish has to be taken off of this roof. That's where we did the repair before. This gives you a good idea of how bad it is inside. I mean, it was just rotten everywhere. So that's what it looks like now. We're starting to rip the whole lot up. And you've got to remember is that all this has got to come out of here, go up over another roof, then down the scaffolding into the road, and we got parking problems. We got all sorts of problems. Tin roof over the top really does make a lot of difference to how you can work with this, because there's no way that we could open up the structure of this roof to this extent, and then explore what's going on, scratch our heads to work out what to do if we didn't have the tin roof over the top, because obviously the weather's just going to change, and you could get a lot of water inside and flood the house inside. So certain jobs, when you haven't got the weather window, you've certainly got to have a tin roof over the top. So this just gives you an idea of the devastation of what's going on. New timbers which have already been put in, but if we look at the major old timbers in there, structurally they were quite sound, and whoever did the roof before, who put that asphalt down, they turned it into a hybrid roof, because of this insulation doesn't turn it into a warm roof. And the timber work that they put in underneath it and the way they changed it was quite good. We didn't actually, the engineer said you don't really need to change too much. So certain things we did change, but not a lot. But as you can see now, it's getting clearer. We can see exactly what's going on. And we're starting to get the decking up here ready to come back over the top of this, because being that this is now what we call structurally sound, the engineer's been down, looked at it and said, yeah, that's fine, you can go ahead and just go over the top of that. We're going to form a warm roof over the top. So from this photograph you can see the level of the old roof, which is just on top of these timbers, and you can see the height here. Well, obviously it's going to get built up, and you're going to see that, so keep an eye on that height. All the water is going to be running down this way, and then we're going to bring it this way. And when we look at this, there underneath this, which we'll see again in a minute, that this is part of an old roof. There's the ceiling, the old part of the ceiling underneath that. The rest of this underneath here is all ceiling as well. So this just gives you a good idea of just looking around. You can see how bad the brickwork is, and all the way around here. Look, some old lights in the old ceiling, which was just there inside. And when we come along and start looking down this area here, this is some old part of the roof. And when we see a step in an old part of a roof like this, where we come to that step just there, that's a great indication that this was probably an old lead roof many years ago, and this would have been some kind of box gutter that brought the water down to this side here, where the only outlet has ever been on this particular roof. So let's move on from that one. So this is the build-up of around the stair housing, and that's obviously been leaking there, because this is higher up than down that area there where the repair was. Nice view from the top to give you an idea of what's going on. The lads are certainly getting it clear. There was a lot to take up and down, or they're bringing this up now to take down. Believe me, there was a lot to take down. One of the interesting things you want to keep an eye on is look how wet this wall is up here, because we found that there was problems with the guttering up there. And of course the other thing is a tin roof. It was very difficult to get the tin roof, you might see that later on up there, to go around that chimney stack and to secure that properly. So this decking now is ready to go over all of this. And the falls are already there, and we want to get it down as soon as possible, because then it makes it easier for us to work and gives us some storage space, and hence this is where we are now. So the decking's pretty much gone down. We've formed this box gutter down here, and you'll start to see what's going on. So based on what you're seeing now, all the water is running downwards towards the box gutter, and then from this box gutter across this way to the outlet. And you'll see that we've built all the falls into the lower decking, so that it's insulated at the same thickness all the way around. Okay, this is just to give you an idea now of what's going on. You can see that we've started to build up the base for the new stair housing to go on. That's starting to come up now, and you can see the decking's going all the way around. Now note that we haven't taken the decking right to the edge. You don't take the decking, there's no need to take this decking right to the edge here. Expansion and contraction shouldn't be that much at this level. You might have seen me in the past doing videos on this kind of thing, and look at this guttering pipe here. Look, you can see how problematic, even with a tin roof over the top of it, you can see there's problems. But you might have seen me before doing videos on this, and the people talk about noisy warm roofs. Well, we've luckily enough never had a noisy warm roof. Is it because we leave the expansion joint around the outside? Is it because we use tongue and groove? You look at this is all tongue and groove 18mm OSB all the way round here. I don't know what it is, but this has been put down really well. Lots of screw fixings into it. But you can see these pencil marks on here, or pen marks to mark where all the joists are. This is really screwed down well and doesn't go up around the edges. So it'll take any expansion and contraction really. So again, that's the base down. So we move on from the base. Again, we're building this up now for the housing of the stairs. Now we've gone around and put the air vapor control layer on all the way around, and at this stage now we're getting this airtight. By the time we finish this air vapor control layer, everything is going to be airtight all the way around. You're going to note all the way around the walls, everywhere, all the way around here as we sort of move around looking at that. Oh, that's the insulation ready to come up. Let's go back to that one. Everything is going to be airtight. Yes, we've patched it everywhere, but because this stuff is so good, it's just brilliant stuff to work with. Very little waste. You can use every little bit of it. You know, that's a great air vapor control layer on. There's the insulation waiting to go up. This is the test area that we've done to work out our heights so that we know the height of the windowsill for the stair housing. This is our insulation. This is an old video, so we're using 120 mil of insulation. That was the specification back in the day. You can see we're insulating this upstand as well. You've got timber behind it, which gives you a thermal insulation. We've got insulation there, and we've also then got the OSB going over the top of it. And again, that gives you an idea of how much upstand and things like that you've got. Just put these people on hold. So that's just us mocking it up so that we can get all our levels correct, because getting the levels correct at this stage is what it's all about, making sure you've got it right. And again, what we're now doing is looking at the level of the roof here with a mock-up against the air vapor control layer, which is against the wall, and what we're thinking of doing with the flashing which goes up underneath, because we can't change the coping stones because of the railings and costs and things like that. And we've had to dig this out here to be able to get a better overhang of the railing, and now we're trying to figure out how to get the water to run down the wall rather than track back with capillary action into the flashing. One of the most important parts of getting it right. So this is again just showing you the step and everything else which is going on there. The air vapor control layer going all the way round. We've now got all the insulation up. We're pretty much getting there with the air vapor control layer all the way around. Insulation's going down, and the top deck OSB is going down with the thermally broken fixings. This is the insulation going down before we go over the whole lot, and that's a lovely picture from a height. You know, I'm not always on site, but whoever took this, I'm really pleased they took this. A lovely picture just to show how it's all going down. So we've got our box gutter there with all the water running down to the outlet. All of this is running down that way. You can see they're going around the edges. Again, the OSB has not been taken tight up to the edges, and we foamed it all the way around, and you can still see the air vapor control layer popping out all the way around it. So you know, this is a beautiful sandwich, airtight from below. By the time the OSB is, by the time the EPDM rubber is on top of this and stuck to the walls, this is a beautiful sealed sandwich from the bottom decking right the way up. Absolutely lovely. And you can see we've given a nice height there for the door sill to go on all the way around. Just more information going around. You can see this is all getting ready to be cut back. Lovely picture there of some EPDM going down. Now this is at the time when we were using EPDM, which we'd buy in big sheets. We don't necessarily do that anymore because there's some different EPDMs on the market now which are only 2 meters wide, and we start to prefer to use them because they're slightly thicker. But this was still 1.5 mil thick. Yes, you can see the thermally broken fixings everywhere all the way through it. You can see the way that that they haven't patched the corners yet. Look, there and there, but you can see how well that's going down, and they've just got to finish off over there. That's, you know, they've got that down really well. We can see here we're using spray glue to put this down. We're not using the water-based one. There's a couple of videos out there which talks about this, but we also used a hard deck. there's a video out there which talks about don't use hard decks. You can't, you shouldn't be doing this. If you've got a properly built up structure and your sandwich is airtight, nothing's getting in and nothing's getting out. So the moisture which is in and underneath this is staying there. Yes, the vapor resistance of the EPDM is high, but guess what? The vapor resistance of the air vapor control layer is even higher. So as I like to point out to people, if you've got vapor coming up from down below, that's going to hold most of it out. If you get a little bit of vapor into this, most of it is going to come out from the top anyhow. That takes a lot of time to happen. It takes a lot of time to get in and it takes a lot of time to get out, but it can get out because the most vapor resistant part of this roof is at the bottom, and that's exactly what you want. So let's just move on and see how this goes. You can this is just another walk around which one of the lads has done, and you can see how they're patching that all the way around. So that's really good. Beautiful there, you can see. And just as a matter of interest, if you look at the amount of joints in this roof, 0. Apart from the joints up here, there's nothing. This is all one sheet right the way down into that area, right the way across and up this wall. One sheet. Guess how much can go wrong with that? Nothing. There's nothing to go. There's no joints. There's nothing to go wrong with that. That's why we like using EPDM. So let's move on from that one. So here's some of the joints being made all the way around. Look how tight that is. Even without a flashing on the wall, look how tight that is. It fits so beautifully. One of the lads, they've just washed it down, so that's why it's looking like that. They've probably been grinding the coping stones, which I think you can see around the edges that they've been doing work on those. Again, nice hive one there. These are just photographs that I have on most jobs. I take loads and loads of photographs of most jobs, and it's great to have these. And as I said to you before, this was done quite some time ago, this job. They've obviously gone around and grooved that in. They've made good all the way around the top just there. This is looking great all the way around. That's ready for the flashings to go in. We can see we've still got a nice upstand just there all the way around. Once that door frame is on there, etc., that's absolutely brilliant. Hi Mel, I'm just recording something, so you can be quiet. Sorry, this is a live studio after all. So again, we're getting ready to go around the outside edges just there and finish that. That's what it looks like under and through the outlet. That's all looking great there, all the way around. So now we decided to bring this in here at an angle to get behind the drip detail on the coping stone and to put the lead in underneath there, but to cut the lead down smaller. And this is getting ready now for decorations there, and that gives you an idea, because look, whoever put the coping stones on, when they put the coping stones down there, the drip detail was covered by this coming up. That's why we've cut it away the way we've cut it away. That gives you a good idea of what's happening. So if any water comes down there, it runs across there with capillary, that might come across there with capillary action, then it'll come off there and it'll drip down. So we've done the best we can do with that. All painted in now, getting there, really getting there now. Scaffolding is down, washing it all down. Doors are going in. I think they're pretty much in now. So that's just looking really nice. Let's just have a look at what's going in. We can see it all built over here. And you can see the problems with this guttering that had been leaking, and we'd had the scaffolding around that bit there. So let's go back to the one before this one. So we've just done that one. We'll come over to this one and have a look at this. So that gives you an idea of what it all looks like now. That's bringing all the plants and everything back on top of it. So you can see a lot of stuff had to come back in again. And we can then go further on. And you can see I'm just looking up underneath there. That's what it looks like with all these down there. These are all sitting on the decking stands, plastic decking stands. So all of this is easily, well, it's not, because they're quite heavy, it's not that easily removed. But this is why you can't not put a hard deck down on top of a warm roof. By the way, look at this, just a lovely joint just underneath there to stop splashback getting up underneath the doors. But as we know, the material, the EPDM comes up and goes underneath the doors. Working out these levels, especially because the roof falls away. There's quite a fall on this roof, and as we've put this down, this is all being laid down flat. So we needed to work out all the flashings height-wise from this end, so that we got it nice to look nice all the way around there. So I think, as you can, this is looking really nice, especially when you take into consideration the complexity of everything that went on here, the weight situation, the structural situation that we had to go through to get all of this, getting all the materials up and down over the back there, and then getting all this built, and the heights that we had to work out here to make sure that it just presented itself well and is going to last. The fact that the rubber is all in one piece right the way down, apart from the little cuts that you have to do in the corners here, there's minimal to do underneath this roof, which is really the way it should be. Good design, and we were really pleased with this. I hope you like this. If you need any more information, always get in touch with me. Speak soon.